Here with Brooke Perfect with Pro1600 International for our March 2024 driver bio. Brooke, welcome.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm super excited.
Good. It's good to have you. So, as you know, we try to get out once a month, interview different drivers in the class, just to kind of pick your brain, see what makes you tick, what you like, what you dislike. Just want to get into that. So, that being said, what got you into racing?
Yeah, so my family runs the short course series, if some of you know, like Lucas Oil and all that. So my parents started desert racing, we started running short course series, and eventually I got a trophy cart when I was little, so that kind of stemmed, and eventually we aged out of trophy carts. We're like, what do we do next? And here we are in the desert, so I've been loving it.
You like it more than short course?
You know what? It's like so different. Like short course is such a different style of racing. It's like 150% for like 10 minutes, like as hard as you could go. And obviously desert is hours and hours, so it's so hard.
It's like a different set of challenges, right?
Yeah. No, it's hard.
Right on. Now, okay, so that being said, obviously your family got you into racing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm assuming, I know your dad used to race class 12 back in the day, right?
Yeah.
And I know he helped out a bunch of big name teams, so you obviously have the pedigree right there.
Yeah.
What's it like racing with your brother?
It's been fun. Like when we did trophy carts, we had our own carts, so we were like competitors, but now we're on a team, so obviously it's a different type of relationship when you're racing against each other than with, but it's been super fun, and as a family, I think it's really helped us like bond, and all of the fun times at the tracks, like you can't beat it.
It's true, you know, it's desert racing is a family sport for sure. Okay, so what is, to this, you know, this point in your young career, what's your most memorable race?
Memorable. I could definitely say memorable was our 1600 shootout race that we just had in September. I got in at the driver change and immediately lost our transmission, and we changed it in an hour and 10 minutes, and I got back out on course and finished all the laps. So,
and if memory serves, I think you guys got the True Grit Award for that race too, right?
Yeah. So I mean, bad memories, good memories.
They tend to all start to blend together after a while.
Yeah,
that's good. So, do you have a favorite race? Do you have a race where you kind of, you know, see it on your calendar and you mark it off of like, I can't wait for this one to come?
I honestly love this race. I love /X Barstow. I know people are like, oh, it's so gnarly. I'm like, no, it's fun. It's square edge, but it's fun, and I had a great time today. But yeah, it's always this race.
So let's take a sidebar since we are at the first more race of the year. Why don't you give us a quick race recap of what happened today?
Yeah, so my brother did the North Loop this morning and unfortunately broke a rear torsion bar. So we're 45 minutes down, finished all of his laps, and then I got in, started 15th physically, and finished 4th. So I'm happy with that, but...
That's a really good afternoon.
Yeah, so we're 10th overall, so, you know what, to get a finish in 1600 is very hard, and it adds up in the end.
And clearly, I mean, I know you guys started in Sportsman, then you moved up to 1600, which is probably the smart way to do it.
Yeah.
And now, you know, you guys, I believe this is your 3rd season in the car?
Yeah.
So clearly the speed and the experience is starting to come. You know, is there things you're finding out now that you know, maybe things you couldn't get away with in those first few seasons that you're willing to take risks on now?
Oh, for sure. Like, I just think the more reps you get in, especially 1600, like I did not know the level that you had to drive at 1600. Because you like pre-running your razor with your family, you're like, oh, I'm going fast. And then you hit a G out and you're in the air and you're like, oh, that's the speed I need to be at. So
this class is kind of on the ragged edge, isn't it?
is.
Yeah, you kind of got to be a little nuts to enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
Great. So, as far as other favorite races, this one, what's another one on your calendar? What's maybe on your racing bucket list? Something maybe you haven't done that you'd be looking forward to do?
I definitely want to race in Mexico. That's a bucket list one. Yeah. I went down at the 400 for the first time. I can see why everyone loves it, for sure.
It's
awesome.
A special experience for sure, and I think driving in Mexico, it's different than here for sure.
Oh yeah, different experience, but it'd be so cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Brooke, who are your heroes? Who do you look up to as a driver, as a team leader?
Mm-hmm.
Who's the people that inspire you?
I would say my dad for sure, because he worked on a lot of teams, like Baldwin's, helped with them, did IndyCar pit stops and all that kind of stuff. And even with desert racing, like he's been the biggest person to, prep our car and push us as far as we've gotten. So for sure him, and I look up to him in a lot of ways, and I wouldn't be where I am without him for sure.
So I want to take a step back to something you said there. You guys do all of your prep in-house.
Yeah, so we bought, it was basically like rusty bars, right? And so my dad basically built it all brand new. So it went to our 1300, and it wasn't 1600 legal, but we wanted to get that experience, and finally got a new motor from Meehan and got us into the class. But yeah, it's totally been in-house. Like my dad, my brother, I help and prep it in between races, and yeah, we do it all.
Right on. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Brooke Perfect hits the lottery tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
What class are we racing?
Oh, 6100.
Yeah.
For sure. It's like, it has such great competition right now, personally, I think, and, they're cool. Like, who doesn't love a 6100?
Yeah.
They're great.
I mean, I get it. There's no wrong answer.
No, so that's definitely what I'm buying.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, so we talked about heroes, we talked about your brother, your dad, all that stuff. What's your season's long goal? Like, what's the end game here? Are we going for a championship? Are we going for race wins? Are we just gonna kind of play it out and see what happens?
For sure, a championship. Like, honestly, last year was our first year in 1600, and I was like, oh, top 5 would be cool. And we ended up getting second in the championship. And so I was like, obviously we need to try to get first. Like, we got a top last year, so
it makes you hungry for more, right?
It does. Yeah. And for sure to get that first race win this year would be great. I mean, I think we're getting closer and closer, but as you guys, like everyone knows, it has to align perfectly to get that race win. It's one of those things. It's people race in 1600 for years before that win comes. I mean, it took me as a co-rider 7 years as a driver. I don't even want to talk about how long it is, but it does, and it kind of speaks to the testament of the class of how hard you have to drive it and the level of talent that we're racing against. Yes.
So do you have any rivals on track?
Yeah, for sure. Like last year it was Hardin and Craig, and this year the Martins have been good with us, and then as well as Cockrell. So it's really those top 3 guys, and I think we're getting speed to kind of get up there with them. I wish today, like, if we hadn't had a break, I think we really would have been right up there with everyone. So
yeah, I mean, I think you guys are definitely showing pace that you're becoming front runners now. Yeah. Are you guys running a high compression or low compression engine? We have both, but currently we're doing a high comp. Awesome.
Yeah.
That's actually pretty interesting. You're one of the few remaining high comp runners in the class.
Yeah, I know there's like controversy. Everyone has their little secret sauce that they put into it, but we've tried them both, and honestly, if you have the combination that works for you, I think that's really what's going to get you there.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's just, what works is what works.
Yeah.
If that works for you guys, great. And I equate the high comp, low comp thing to almost riding like a 2-stroke and a 4-stroke dirt bike.
Yeah.
I prefer a low comp. It just suits my driving style better. I drove a high comp for many years. It's interesting. It's actually good to see that you guys are still running one. So.
No. And you know what? We had the high comp. Now I'm thinking about it. We did transition to that low comp in this last season because we've been making little tweaks here and there. And as we had our 1300 car, we're kind of upgrading until we got to 1600. And I just think that slow, steady growth. And like you said, getting the experience of driving both engine types has actually really been beneficial. Cause,
it's a good teacher.
Yeah, for sure.
100%.
Yeah.
Do you have any changes you'd like to see made in the class? Anything, you know, I know in Mexico they now allow, you know, the bigger transmissions in the class. I think it's the Mendiola 4-speed. How do you feel about stuff like that? Any changes you'd want to see if you were allowed Queen of 1600 for a weekend? Any changes you'd make?
I don't have any specific ones. I work in tech at our short course races, funny enough, so I know how it gets really like nitpicky when you get into rules, and I just think whatever we have, we need to have them enforced. So whatever rule book we're doing, like, let's tech everything. Let's tech it after race, pre-race. I just think not a lot gets checked a lot of the times, which isn't good or bad. It's good and bad, but whatever rule book we have, everyone should be held accountable to that regardless.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think class accountability is definitely something that everybody needs to adhere to. All right, Brooke, a few last closing notes.
Okay.
Who do you want to thank that gets you here? Obviously, we know mom and dad are the big, big sponsors. Besides that, do you have any partners you want to thank?
Yeah, Sparco has been a huge help with us. Seats, seat belts, gear, everything. We just got a new sponsor, Scotty's Automotive, has been super helpful. In the high desert, if you need any work on your trucks, anything, he dials you in. DH Graphics did all of our graphics. Obviously, Meehan's doing our trans and our motor. He's been really good. And everyone else is just all the people that help on the race weekends. It makes such a difference. Like, this race has been so windy and brutal, and even like our pit guys, like your outer pits, it all plays a part. So just honestly, everyone that helps us has just helped to where we are now.
Awesome. Brooke, thank you so much for sitting down with us. I really appreciate it. Good luck with the rest of the season.
Thank you.
Awesome. Easy peasy.